So we're going to talk about the second module today, which is module 1, and that's going to be cloud concepts. Cloud concepts overview. Okay, so the module overview is an introduction to cloud computing, advantages of cloud computing, introduction to Amazon Web Services, and AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, AWS CAF, also known as that. Okay. Now, after completing this module, you should be able to define different types of cloud computing models, describe the 6 advantages of cloud computing, recognize the main AWS service categories and core services, and review the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework, right? First section, what is cloud computing, guys? What is cloud computing? Can someone tell me what cloud computing is? Just your own words, okay?
Access to machines in the cloud.
Okay. Okay. Well, yes. What else can we say?
It's an,
it doesn't. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, it's an infrastructure that uses internet connection.
Well, I don't know. Can you repeat that because I didn't hear what you're saying?
What is cloud computing? In your
No,
own...
not you. The student.
Okay, I say it's a, let's say, infrastructure that uses an internet connection.
Okay.
Well, I thought it was like you don't have to worry about how many users are coming to your system, so it automatically grows and shrink of how much of service you needed. I don't know, like how much of storage you need to give your clientele. That's what I thought it was.
Okay. Well, cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of compute power, database, storage, applications, and other IT resources via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Okay, that is the concept of cloud computing. Okay. So everything is delivered online. It's on demand. You know, if you need more, you have more. If you need less, then you're gonna get less, right? It's whatever you need. It's on demand. And what you're delivering is compute power, database, storage, application, IT resources through the internet. So if you don't have access to the internet, you cannot work with the cloud. And also, you pay as you go. Okay, you don't pay necessarily. You don't pay upfront fees. You can, when you have the EC2 instances, and then you have the different pricing and different pricing models for EC2 instances, purchase models. Then you can choose several ways, and one of them is with upfront payments. But you don't need money to start in the cloud. Okay, as simple as that. And then you will pay as you go. Okay, so that's the best definition for cloud computing. Also, cloud computing can be just like a walk-in closet, and the more you walk, the more it just expands. Okay, so it expands, and then you walk backwards. You walk back, and then it just shrinks. So it's just that way, okay? That's why it's elastic, okay? And everything is delivered online. Okay? Now, one of the things that you can do when you are in the cloud is that you don't have to worry about hardware. Hardware is not a concern anymore, okay? Very important. You know, when you have an office, when you work in an office on premises, right? You have to think about servers in the office, servers, cabling, space, racks. You know, a lot of things that you have to use to keep those servers running, right? You have to hire people that will maintain those servers, right? Server administrators, right? So that's going to incur money, much more money, right? Because you have to buy service. But something that may happen when you have the servers on-prem is that you may purchase more servers than you need. And that is a problem because you're overspending money on things that you actually don't need. And you've been being the other extreme, in the other end, that you don't have the service that you need. So you need more capacity. And then you need to buy more servers. And that's very, troubling when you have a business and then time comes when the traffic and your sales, let's say it's a retail store online, your sales are going to increment drastically, and you don't have the capacity to cope with the traffic, right? So you would buy more servers. But when that momentum is gone, then you have extra servers with you. And then what are you going to do? You're going to sell the servers to another buyer or to a buyer? What if the buyer doesn't want to buy it? What if you cannot sell the service? So you spend money necessarily up to a certain point. After that moment, you don't need them anymore. So that's the good thing about the cloud, that you don't have to think hardware anymore. Now you think software, okay? You're gonna use software instead of using hardware, okay? So that's what cloud computing enables you to think, right? So in a traditional computing model, you have a lot of upfront investment, right? So like I said before, it requires space, staff, physical security, planning, capital expenditure, okay? All of this you have to consider when starting a business, right? Thing that you don't have to think about when you are in the cloud, right? So imagine how many things you are getting rid of when you migrate to the cloud, okay? So this also has a long hardware procurement cycle. There's a time when the hardware is, worn out, it's just old, and then you have to replace it, right? So that's important too. Another thing that you don't have to worry about if you're in the cloud, right? Let AWS worry about that. You don't have to worry about that, okay? So you have to provision capacity by guessing theoretical maximum peaks. So guys, when you have an on-prem office and then your infrastructure is there, you have to be guessing all the time. You have to guess, right? You cannot be certain about the future. You can't. You may have good sales, a lot of sales one time, and another time you have zero, or you have very few sales. So you have to be guessing all the time, guessing capacity, right? So you may be over provision or under provision. And the goal here is to be provisioned. That's it, right? So if the demand goes up, our provision is there. If the demand goes down, our provision is there. So that's very important. And that doesn't happen in traditional computing models. It doesn't happen, right? In cloud computing models, it's all the opposite, right? It's more flexible. It's not rigid as a traditional computing model is, right? You can change more quickly. If you need more, it's right there. If you need less, just delete some services or remove some services and some servers, and that's it, right? It's more cost efficient because you spend less money, right? And one of the advantages of cloud computing is that you will trade capital expenditure over variable expenditures. So it's not something fixed. It's very flexible, right? You need more servers, you buy more servers. You need less service, remove the servers, and that's it. So you don't have to buy and then not use anymore. It's like when you get married, for the ladies, if you get married, you buy a dress, a wedding dress, right? Once you get married, what do you do with it? What do you do with it? Did you resell it? Did you keep it all your entire life? Did you put it in the closet and not see it anymore? So what do you do with it? Same thing. You buy a server and you're not using it anymore for now. Maybe if you marry again, you can use it again. Maybe if the momentum comes back, You can use the servers again, but what are you going to do with the servers in the meantime? In between. So you have to keep them, right? Why have that extra, capacity when you don't need it, right? So that's one of the things that are good about cloud computing, right? It eliminates the undifferentiated heavy lifting tasks. You don't have to worry about many things that you would do in a traditional computing model, okay? So 3 different service models, okay? Don't forget this, 3 different service models. We have IaaS, infrastructure as a service. We have PaaS, that's platform as a service, and we have SaaS, that is software as a service. If you take a look at this graph, the farther right, or the further right you go, you lose control, and more control, right? Can you control Microsoft Office? Can you control that? Can you change the underlying infrastructure? You can't, right?
Right.
What are the things that you can do with Microsoft Office? Create folders in your Outlook, create folders, just send emails, but you cannot change the code behind it. You cannot change anything behind that software, okay? So you have almost zero control on that. Now, with infrastructure as a service, in this case, we have the EC2 instances, right? EC2 instances. We have access and we have control over the underlying infrastructure. You can choose the operating system. You can choose the IMI, which is the Amazon machine image. You can choose the software you're going to install. You can choose the network it's going to be in. So you can choose so many things when you have infrastructure as a service. So that's EC2 instances. But platform as a service, we have Elastic Beanstalk. With Elastic Beanstalk, we have even less control than infrastructure as a service. We still have some control because we can still do some configuration. And I'm going to show you that when we get there. I'm going to show you some configuration that you can do in Elastic Beanstalk. But, there's a lot of things that you cannot do with Elastic Beanstalk because you lose control, right? With platform as a service, right? And then when you get to software as a service, there's not much that you can do because it's a software. Can you do much with, let's say, with Dropbox? I think with Dropbox, can you do much with it? It's just create folders, upload content, download content. But other than that, there's nothing you can do in the underlying infrastructure. You can't, right? It's software. So 3 different computing deployment models. Okay, we have cloud, which is the public cloud. That will be AWS. That will be Microsoft Azure. That will be Google. That will be IBM. That will be Alibaba. Those are third-party cloud providers. This is also known as the public cloud. Okay, so you relied on a third-party provider to host and safeguard your services and your resources. Okay, so that's owned by the third party. Okay, the resources are yours, the data is yours, but the services that are in that infrastructure, they belong to the third party provider. In a hybrid, we have part of the services are on the cloud and part of the services are on premises. This is a model that many companies are using. I still don't understand why, because when I show you how much money you can save when you migrate to the cloud, I don't know why there's still people that are with this model, the hybrid. But probably they want to have more control on certain things, and they don't want the provider to have the full control. Okay, they might have some trust issues. I don't know. They don't trust everybody. They don't trust 100%. You never know. Okay, but Netflix, like I said before, Netflix decided that the cloud, AWS, was the way to go, and then they just moved all in the cloud. Okay, completely. okay, which is this one here. Okay, sorry, this one here. Many companies are still here, and there are many companies that they don't want to be in the cloud, and they just have their private cloud, their their intranet that is owned by the organization, okay, completed by the organization. Now here, AWS is fully prepared for this hybrid model. There are many services that connect on premises with the hybrid, with the cloud. Okay, so AWS is fully prepared for that. Now, there's some similarities between AWS and traditional IT, right? And I can tell you guys, AWS possesses everything that we have in a traditional model, deployment model. Okay, so and we're gonna get there. Okay, maybe it may look a little new for you now, but we're gonna get there. Okay, so here we saw this morning IAM, right? We saw IAM. IAM is equivalent to administrators, okay, in an on-premise IT space, traditional one. Okay, we're gonna see NACLs, which is a network access control list, right? We're gonna see that in AWS. That is an access control list on premises. The security groups, this is what works on the service on the instances level. So security group is gonna be the firewall of your EC2 instances. And guys, when I refer to an EC2 instance, I am talking about a virtual machine, okay? EC2 is a service, and then when you create a virtual machine, you create an instance of that virtual machine, okay? Firewall is the same thing as a security group, but firewall is in a traditional on-premises IT space. We have the router, right? The router, right? And then we have the elastic load balancer, which is the one that's going to be routing and just, distribute the traffic evenly to the servers, right? We have the Amazon VPC, which is, like an equivalent to these guys here. A VPC that contains, it contains a routing table. It contains a router inside every single subnet, right? On premises, right? Servers, you can have an AMI, which is an Amazon machine image, which is needed when you create an Amazon EC2 instance, which is a server. Okay, this is the guy that contains. It's a template that contains the software, the permissions, the installation, the updates, everything that your server needs. We have AMIs for Linux machines. We have AMIs for Windows. We have AMIs for, I don't know, they said they have for Ubuntu, Red Hat. They have so many AMIs in AWS that you can use to create an instance. Okay, this is the first step. When you create an instance, you have to choose an image. Without an image, you cannot create a server. Okay, very important. Okay, so we have this guy here, the this DAS, which is equivalent to AWS. We have this guy, SNet, storage attached network, and network attached storage. So we have all these guys here, and these are the equivalents that we're gonna see. The NAS, the network attached storage, that's the EFS. We're gonna create an EFS file, which is a shared file system that many instances can access, access anytime they want at the same time, okay? We're gonna have the relational database management system, which is RDS in AWS. Well, guys, as you can see, for every single traditional feature, if we may call it that way, we have an equivalent in AWS. So AWS, guys, they've been in the business for 14 years, so they know what they're doing. Okay. Some key takeaways from this section. Cloud computing is what? The on-demand delivery of IT resources via the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. And then you don't have to think about infrastructure as hardware anymore, is as software, okay? So you're going to think about software from now on when you talk about the cloud. The three cloud service models are infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. The three cloud deployment models are cloud, also known as all-in cloud, and hybrid, and on-premises or private cloud. And almost anything you can implement in on-premises, you can implement in the cloud. Okay. So guys, I'm gonna ask you about this when we finish the class at the end to see if you still remember this, guys. What are the advantages of cloud computing? And guys, this is very important because that's gonna be in your exam. All right. There are 6 main advantages, right? So the first one is to trade capital expense for variable expenses. Okay. And maybe you wonder, what are the capital expenses, right? Capital expenses are funds that a company uses to acquire, upgrade, and maintain physical assets, such as a property, industrial buildings, or equipment. Right? So you guys remember when we saw the image that had a data center and the traditional computing model, when you needed to rack and stack the hardware? Remember the image that we saw before? You see if I can bring it back. So this image, remember this image here? Okay. So you have to pay for that, and that is fixed. That is capital expenditures. Okay. Now, you must pay for everything in the data center, whether you use it or not. Okay. There's no, there's no going around it. You have to buy that. Now, by contrast, a variable expense is an expense that the person who bears the cost can easily alter or avoid. Okay, that's a variable expense. You can alter that or avoid it. Okay? Instead of investing heavily, right, in data centers and servers before you know how you will use them, you can pay only when you consume resources and pay only for the amount you consume. Okay? And that way, you save money on technology, right? And it will also enable you to adapt to the new applications, which as much space as you need in minutes, right? So this will take minutes, right? If the application grows, then your system will be adaptable, okay? Now, instead of weeks or days, this will take minutes, okay? So maintenance is reduced. You don't have to maintain as much as before, and you can focus on more on the goals of your business. So treating your customers much better, and investing more on your customers, or on maintaining, keeping, retaining your customers than on servers and data centers and things like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. The other one is massive economies of scale. So the first one, guys, is straight capital expense for variable expense, right? And the second one is massive economies of scale. Okay, that's very important. By using cloud computing, you can achieve a lower variable cost than you can get on your own, right? Because usage from hundreds of thousands of customers is aggregated in the cloud. Providers like AWS, they can achieve higher economies of scale, which translates into a lower pay-as-you-go prices. So that's what it means, right? It grows and grows and grows and grows more, and that's why AWS has decreased the price so many times, because more and more people are migrating to the cloud. And that's what massive economies of scale means, okay? AWS has more customers. You as a customer save more money, okay? So if you have a business, and then you see that things are going well for you and you're doing good and you're making profits and your business is booming, So what you have to do is recommend people to the cloud, and then you save money also as well. The third one, guys, the first one is trade capital expense for variable expense. The second one is massive economies of scale. And the third one is stop guessing capacity. Okay, that will be number 3. Very important. Here, you overestimated server capacity. You thought, oh my God, my business is gonna do so well, okay? And I'm gonna purchase a lot of resources, okay? And as you can see here, your business is doing poorly, right? It's just, maybe it's doing well, but it's doing, worse than you thought, right? So you have this extra capacity that you pay for, and probably the return on investment for this guys here is not even covering the cost of this extra capacity, right? Now you underestimate this, right? Now you have a lot of traffic here. You see, this is red. It means that you have a lot of traffic. You underestimated your business, right? You said you thought that your business was not going to go that well, and then you just bought a few servers, right? Not the servers that you needed, and now you are short. You fell short, okay? So you underestimated server capacity, right? Now here is the scaling on demand. That's the best thing that can happen to you guys, right? So this is time, and this is instances running. You see, right here, you have steady traffic that goes up, and then your instances scale out, okay? We're gonna see the difference between scaling in, scaling out, scaling up, scaling down, okay? For now, we're gonna say that scale in is to reduce the number of servers. Scale out is to increase the number of servers, okay? So it's what is also known as scaling horizontally, okay? Horizontally. Okay. So your instances are running here, and then, you have to increase the number of instances, so you scale out, right? And then you start here, you scale out again, right? And then you continue here steadily, and then you scale out, continue steadily, and then you start scaling in. Steady, scaling in, steady, scaling out again, and then all the way scaling again, okay? So even though this is going up, it doesn't mean that you're scaling up, right? You're scaling out because you are incrementing, you are increasing the number of instances that are running, okay? So that's what the cloud does. You don't have to guess capacity anymore. Capacity is taken care of by AWS and auto scaling, okay? So that will be the third. The fourth would be increased speed and agility. And guys, if I go back here and I just mention them again, it's for a reason. So number 1 is trade capital expense for variable expenses. Number 2 is massive economies of scale. Number 3, stop guessing capacity. Number 4, increase speed and agility. Okay, that's very important. So everything is going to be in minutes, right? Minutes. You just click a button that says launch, and then it will take you probably less than a minute to create an instance, right? Whereas when you are in the traditional environment, then you have to probably wait weeks, for weeks to get everything set up, okay? Maybe you want the resources, and then you have the resources, you have to buy them, you have to purchase them, right? Unless you can go to a place where they sell them, and the place is just around the corner, right? But probably even when you buy them, you purchase them, you have to set it up. So it may take you for more than a day, probably 2 days or 3 days, right? With the cloud, it's only minutes, and that's it, okay? So increase speed and agility. Stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers, okay? So bye-bye data centers, guys. No more. The data center is in AWS, okay? So AWS has its own data centers. They take care of the running of the data centers, maintaining the data centers, patching the servers, securing the premises, you know, they do everything, right? So here you have to do the payroll, utilities, you know, electricity, water, I don't know, internet services. You have to do so many things here, right? Things that you will have to do if you're in the cloud as well. Something you have to pay for internet anyways, you know, even if you're in the cloud. But maintenance, you pay maintenance for all the stuff, not for data centers, landscaping, hardware, and payroll. Now, this is what you do there. You have to invest in customers and business, right? That's what you can do in the cloud. Okay. The cloud, you don't forget about this. You forget about this. This is not a concern anymore. And now you can, you know, invest in your business and customers. Okay. The other one is global in minutes, big global in minutes, right? You can deploy your application in multiple AWS regions around the world with just a few clicks. As a result, you can provide a lower latency and better experience for your customers simply and at minimal cost. Okay, guys, when we get to the part when we talk about pricing, you're going to see how much you can save when you move to the cloud. It's we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm not talking about $20 or 30 or 100. I'm talking about $1,000. Okay, a lot of money. So guys, if you have some services in Singapore, you can be here in the United States and still offer those services in Singapore. So you can be global in minutes, just like that. Right? So guys, what are the six, without looking at the PowerPoint, because I know that you have the answer there, what are the 6 advantages of the cloud that you guys remember? Can someone tell me one?
It's cheaper because you don't have to have those large down payments.
Okay, it's cheaper
for the infrastructure.
But I want you to give me the 6 advantages of the cloud.
Elasticity. Is it one?
Saving on capital investment.
Stop guessing capacity.
Stop guessing capacity. Someone told me trade capital expenditure for variable expenses. Okay. What else?
You can increase speed and agility.
Increase speed and agility. What else?
You don't need an IT staff.
You don't need an IT staff. That's good. But what is the
server admins?
Okay, but what is the advantage that covers that?
IAM.
You can stop running. You can stop spending money on data centers.
Correct. Stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers.
Yeah. And
there's one missing.
You can start investing more time and less money into your business and customers.
Okay.
Go global in minus and massive economies of scale is the missing.
Massive economies of scale. Okay. The more AWS grows, the more savings we're gonna get. Okay, that's very important. So they're here. Okay, trade capital expenses for variable expenses, benefit from massive economies of scale, stop guessing capacity, increase speed and agility, stop spending money on running and maintaining data centers, and go global in minutes. Okay, so those are what are the three service models that we saw?
LAAS. What was the other?
Platform as a service.
SaaS.
It's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service.
So infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And what are the 3 cloud computing deployment models?
Cloud, hybrid, and on-premises or private.
Cloud, hybrid, and on-premise or private cloud. Very good. Give me a company that that is all in the cloud?
Google.
Netflix.
Okay, did you know, guys, that Comcast is using AWS?
No.
Comcast is using AWS. Airbnb is using AWS.
How do we find a list of the companies that do a particular technology?
Companies that use.
Oh, first go bit, Google it.
AWS customer. Let's see.
Comcast is charging too much then.
They're never going to lower their price.
They should be passing the savings on.
Netflix, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, ESPN.
Oh, ESPN?
Yeah. Adobe, Twitter. Of course, we have Facebook, we have Twitter. And also probably we have WhatsApp too. Why not? You see here, Kellogg's, Shell, the gas station, Expedia, Airbnb, Apple. This is great. You see, AWS is a monster. Let me see here.
I'm surprised Apple doesn't create their own.
Okay. What are the top Amazon AWS? The top ones are these guys here: Adobe, Twitter, Adobe System, BMW, Canon, Capital One, Docker, General Electric, Hitachi, HTC, Johnson & Johnson, Lyft, Uber. Uber is probably the U. NASA, Netflix, Nokia, Nostrum, Philips, Samsung, Slack, Spotify, Silo, Yelp, Disney, Expedia, and Uber. Uber is also using AWS. Uber's not here, but Uber is using it too. So guys, you can see how many companies are using AWS. Why? Why do you think that these, monsters are using, monsters of commerce are using AWS? Why do you think so? Because
they're growing consistently.
Security.
It's just a simple.
I think they want to reduce their capital expenditures.
That's right. So they just moved to the cloud because AWS is just a simple little fraction AWS cloud provider, just like that. No, because it's a trustworthy company. People don't move their data, their resources to a platform if they don't trust them. Guys, when we are in AWS, our data is in their hands. And my data may be really, really, really sensitive. Okay. And I'm in good hands here. Right. So now, introduction to AWS. We have here what a web service is. Well, web service is a piece of software that makes itself available over the internet and uses a standardized format, such as extensible markup language, XML, or JavaScript object notation, JSON. Guys, these are formats that people use, but, JSON has become more and more popular than XML, because if you take a look at both, XML is like reading Chinese compared to JSON. Right? And then further request of a response of an application programming interface, right? And that's an API network interaction. So the client sends a response to the server, and the server sends back a response with a message, right? So, in every single response, there's something called status code. Have you heard about the status code, guys? Status code?
Yeah, don't change. Stay
500, 200, 403.
All right. So we come here, right? And then we spec this guy here. Now I go to network, right? You see the status code here. 200 means that everything is okay, right? When you have in the 200s, there's nothing wrong. It's just a different message, but everything is fine there. Okay. So if I just refresh this guy, I start getting a lot of requests there, you know, and then I get 200. I get 101, and the 100 is just information, right? It's information, and this 101 is switching protocols because every code has a different, different purpose, right? But in the range of 100s, that's information. This is this guy here, 204. It's nothing is wrong. It's just a different code in the 200s. Do we get any 300s? Well, 300s is redirection. 400 and 500s are the ones that are concerning because 400 is the client side error, and the 500 is the server side error. Something is wrong with the server if it is 500, and 400 is something that you put input wrongly or something. And have you ever gotten a 404 like this? We're still getting something with this. So we can get a 404 like the page doesn't exist, not found.
Try doing on Bing.
Which one? Bing? And then here?
Yes.
To get something. Yeah. Well,
you should have tried .com. Something .com. Like the whole thing, but .com.
You have to go to a website, .com, and then slash something that doesn't exist to get a 404.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, Bing.com and then slash this. You see, you still have this guy Bacon. What is this? So, guys, you will see sometime. I mean, sometime in your life, you will see you will get a not found, a 404. Oh, right there. Right there, we saw it. I saw it. One moment. I saw it in the network. 304. Okay, Bing. And then I'm gonna put that guy there. You see, favicon.png 404.
It was trying to find a favorite icon.
There's nothing there.
It was looking for it.
See, still getting things, and we don't get the favicon here. You see, and I'm getting a secure website. Something interesting here by putting this, part here. Okay. So the server sends back the response with the status code. Okay. And let me show you a little piece of XML. Probably you can see XML. Sorry. So this is XML. You can see here. It's a little painful. If you understand it, it's a tagging system, like opening tag, closing tag, opening tag, closing tag. And sometimes you can create your own tags if you want to. But it's painful. It's painful, really painful. Whereas JSON is so simple. You see JSON, so simple. It's just objects because it's object notation, right? And then you have square brackets if it is a string, because you have two objects here. We have the first object here. If you take a look at this guy, you see this square bracket here that closes here. We have two objects in between. One object start here, right? And then the other object starts here. All right. Something like that. So it's just a hierarchy thing here. We have D, and then inside D we have results, and then inside results we have this. But you see, it's only a matter of having a good syntax with the curly braces, and that's it, right? It's a key value pair thing, right? Just like DynamoDB, just like MongoDB, just like the policies in AWS. All right. That's what web services is. All right. So what is AWS? Well, very clearly said, it's a secure cloud platform. A secure, okay? We're not talking about a Mickey Mouse provider. We're talking about a very secure one that takes security very seriously, okay? And that's why they have so many customers that are very renowned, right? You know, like the ones that we saw before, Apple, Uber, Lyft, Comcast, you know, all those guys, you know, they're reputable companies, and they decided to move to the cloud, either hybridly or all in the cloud. But you know, they're respectable companies, and it offers a broad set of global cloud-based products. Right now, AWS has over 150 services. Okay, it's a lot of services, right, for a company. AWS provides you with the on-demand access to compute, storage, network, database, and other IT resources and management tools. Everything is on demand, okay, on demand, with a pay-as-you-go pricing model. Okay? It is flexible. It's not rigid like a traditional deployment model. It's very flexible. If you want it, you take it. If you don't want it, you don't take it. It's just flexible. And you don't have to pay for what you don't use, right? You know, and we said very clearly that when you have a data center on premises, you have to pay even if you don't use it, right? You pay only for the individual services you need for as long as you use them, right? There's services that are free forever, okay? And we're gonna see them, you know, later on in the course. They are free forever, okay? But unfortunately, we create all the resources with them. And the resources that we create with them may be or may not be free, okay? For example, we have something called CloudFormation. CloudFormation is a deployment tool, right? It's a template that we create in YAML. YAML is similar to JSON, but it's easier than JSON, okay? So YAML is something like this. Okay, something like this. You know, it's similar to JSON, but the advantage of YAML is that you don't have to use curly braces, you don't have to use square brackets. You just use a hierarchy system. If it is inside, for example, experiment will be the parent of epochs file, eval-sex, max steps, and train epochs. Okay, so that's why you leave a space here. It's like a tab, probably, some space there, and you put a column here. That is the curly braces in JSON, but we don't use JSON in YAML, okay? So we're gonna see, probably we see some templates in CloudFormation that you can see that you can create resources with them. But CloudFormation, if you create an IAM user, you're not gonna be charged because both CloudFormation and IAM are free. But if you create an EC2 instance, then you're gonna be charged for this EC2 instance, right? If you're in the free tier, no, you won't. But when you, the free tier, the free account is just past the 12 months, then you will have to pay for by the minute or by the second, depending on the operating system. All right. So just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. It offers flexibility. You pay only for the user, okay? And AWS services work together like building blocks. So someone wanted to, describe AWS, and they just came up with the idea that AWS is like a spaghetti ball. So all the services are, related to each other, and it looks like an spaghetti ball. Okay, so big. And they work as a team together, and they're related with each other, okay? They need each other to work, okay? Some of them don't, but most of them do, okay? So categories of AWS services. We have analytics, application integration, AR and VR, blockchain, business applications, compute. Guys, just name it, they have it. Okay? Anything you want, machine learning, robotics, satellite. This is IAM is here, security, identity, and compliance, storage. Okay?
Do each of these have a specialty like you mentioned earlier?
Which one?
Does each of these services have a specialty, a certification that you mentioned earlier? Like
not all of them. Machine learning has one. Okay. Security, what's security here? Security has one. Networking has one. Databases has one. What's databases right here? Right here. There's one for analytics, like this one has one, like big data, right? Sorry. Big data has one. Also Alexa Builder has one too. Alexa Skills, right? But not all of them. They will show in some of the certifications as you go, some way or another. Okay. Now you can see this probably in the AWS account. Let me see here. Where's one moment? Okay, probably. Where's my AWS account? Right here. So probably if you do this, then you can see. Sorry. Okay, so you can see here the robotics. You see the categories here: robotics, machine learning, AR and VR, application. The same things that we see here. Sorry. That we see here. Okay, is whatever you see here. It's the same thing. Okay, these are the categories of the services that you can find in AWS. Okay. Okay. Simple solution example. We have here 4 main categories: networking, compute, database, and storage. Okay. For the networking, we have VPC. We have the users here. They want to connect to a VPC, right? And inside the VPC, we have an EC2 instance, which is a server, right? Right? A server. And this icon, guys, this icon here is a network interface, and the square is an EC2 instance, or EC2 instances, right? So we have a DynamoDB table. That is the one that stores the information, right? The information that you can fetch from the servers, right? And also you can put information like backups, screenshots and things like that, snapshots in an S3 bucket. And that is part of the storage category. And this one is part of the database category. This is a very simple model, right? We have the region, which is the cloud here. We have the cloud, we have the region, and then we have the VPC, right? When we get to the global infrastructure, we will understand this a little bit better, okay? Okay, choosing a service, okay? So what do we choose, right? Well, it depends, like it says here, on the business goals, right? And the technology requirements, okay? So here we have, and it's a question mark. What am I going to use, right? So these guys are for developers like Batch, AWS Batches, right? Amazon Live Sales, when you want to start new business, right? This is the guy that's going to help you. It's very light sale, Elastic Stock is just in case you want to upload the code, right, and run it, right? This is platform as a service. We have AWS Lambda, which is a serverless application, just in case you want to go serverless and not use servers anymore. This is the guy that's going to help you. And by the way, this is a function. AWS Lambda is just a function, but it's serverless. It can do as much as an EC2 instance, right? An EC2 instance is not serverless. It's a server, right? You can host websites there. It's just a virtual machine, right? Have you ever worked with the virtual machine in Linux or VirtualBox or something like that? Okay, it's the same thing. And I'm gonna prove it to you when we SSH into this virtual machine, right? VMware Cloud on AWS. I don't know, guys, if you have used VMware. I use VMware for my virtual machine. I have a virtual machine which I use for classes, and I use VMware for this, right? So this is my virtual machine right here, right? And this is VMware. So you can see here VM Fusion, and this is for Mac, right? Windows.
Good question. What is going to be the difference between use VMware service and ES2?
EC2, okay, EC2 is in the cloud. This is a guide that we have to install. This is software as a service, okay? We have to install VMware, right? And then we have to upload an image. In this case, I uploaded an Ubuntu image. And this is working in Ubuntu, right?
Or when you create EC2 image, don't you load a template that already have Ubuntu or?
Correct. But you have to download it. I don't have to download anything in AWS. I just, where's my, okay, one moment. I just come here, an EC2 instance, and then I just launch the EC2 instance here, right? And then I can choose the image here. I have so many images here, right? I don't have to download anything. It's already done for me, okay? This is an Amazon Linux 2 AMI. I just choose it and done, okay? I already have the software and the operating system is gonna be an Amazon Linux 2 machine, right? And then I can choose the instance type. What do I want? How much power do I need? So you can see how many vCPUs you're getting here, how much memory you're getting, what is the network performance of that, and of course, the one that is included in the free tier is the T2 Micro, right? The other ones are not, so you're gonna be charged for the other ones, okay? We have so many instance types here, okay? So many.
You probably went over it real quick in the beginning, but when you keep on saying instance, are you saying you're making a copy of like the actual computer? Like what is an instance supposed to be?
Are you thinking like a programmer?
Yeah, I'm like trying to, is it like, how is that?
That's exactly the same question that I had when I started in this. You know that you create instances from a class, an object, right? So yeah, you see that the object is an instance of the class, and then we see instance, and then I asked the professor that was teaching the class, when I create an instance of an institute, am I creating an object of the instance? Is that a copy like you said? No. The service is EC2, and the instance is the virtual machine. When I create an instance, I'm actually creating a virtual machine.
Oh, virtual machine. Okay. Oh.
So when I refer to an instance, it's a virtual machine. It's an elastic compute cloud instance, right? So EC2 is not a prototype or it's not a template. EC2 is just a service that allows you to create virtual machines, right? The template is the Amazon machine image. That's the template that contains everything. And with that, we can create virtual machines, okay? So in other words, guys, whenever you hear the word instance, that is a virtual machine, okay? It's not, I know I may have programmers here in class, and I'm a programmer too, because I have a software engineering degree and computer science master. I know what you're telling me, but it's not a copy of something. It's just that you're creating a virtual machine. But they name it instance. That's the name they gave it, right? It's just when I created an RDS, which is a relational database service, right? I create an instance of an RDS. So basically, an instance is a database. That's what it is. So when I create an instance here, I create a database. That's an instance of that. Okay. An instance of an EC2 is a virtual machine. An instance of an RDS is a database. Okay. And these are the 6 engines that it supports: Aurora, MySQL, MariaDB, Postgres, Oracle, and SQL Server. And by the way, I have 2 databases that I'm using right now in my class in the morning. They're stopped right now because I don't want to have any charges. When you stop it, you're not charged, right? So I stopped it. On Monday, when I start my class again, I start it again. So I just select it and click here, start. And then I have this connected to dbeaver. dbeaver is a platform where I can connect my databases and just perform. If I just perform something new, it's going to give me an error message because my database is stopped. It's not running, right? And then this guy is for me to create databases, but this guy, VS Code, is also connected to AWS, and I can just bring the information from the database, whatever information I have. Okay, so it's so cool. I mean, this technology is so great to work with AWS. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So we have Amazon is ECS, which is Elastic Container Services. So it allows you to create instances and running them in containers for isolation and self-containment. You know, that's pretty good. It's very common right away. I mean,
question.
Right now, go ahead.
Good question, Antonio. How do we know what instances are free?
Okay, the only one that is free is T2 Micro for 12 months, because that's the one that is included in the free tier. So we just launched the instance. We see that it says free eligible. If I select the image, I come here and it says free tier eligible. This is the only one that is free for 12 months. And you have 750 hours per month. Okay, so basically, if you use this guy, 24 hours by 31, if the month has 31 days, that's going to be, for a year, that's going to be less than 750 hours. So you can host a website for a year for free. Okay. Now, if you want to know more about the limits, you can put here AWS free tier limits. Okay. And then you can have the limits here. You see, I'm going to post this on this is a very long guide. One moment, let me post it on Slack so you guys can have it.
How about that is S3 bucket that we created?
S3 bucket is free up to 5 gigabytes.
Yeah.
Okay, if you take a look here, S3 is free up to 5 gigabytes. Okay, our standard storage. And what we have right now is a standard storage just in case. Okay, if you store something, if it is empty, they don't charge you. So you can have empty buckets, you're not charged for that. Okay. You have 750 hours for RDS, for databases. You have 25 gigabytes of storage for DynamoDB. You have Lambda, 1 million requests per month for Lambda. And then after that, I think it is like 25 cents per million, something like that. So guys, when you take a look at the prices that AWS has, is ridiculously cheap compared to other pricing models. Okay, CloudWatch, it has up to 10 metrics, custom metrics and alarms for free. Okay, which one else we're gonna use? Probably Amazon Cognito has 50,000 users each month. Mobile user identities and synchronization. What else? EFS, 5 gigabytes per month, just like S3. EBS, we have 30 gigabytes per month. Okay. Any combination of general purpose SSD or magnetic. Guys, you can take a look at this when you have some time, and then you can see that they are super good. For Elastic Container Registry is 500 megabytes. The Elastic Container Registry is when you save the images, right? In a container registry, the images, Docker images and things like that. And
when you say Docker, we're talking about Kubernetes, right?
Kubernetes too. Yeah, AWS.
When you say Docker, you're talking about Kubernetes.
Well, Kubernetes is something else.
Yeah, but
AWS supports both. So you can have I think is EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, right? You know, Kubernetes is a third-party service, right? And AWS has a service that supports Kubernetes, which is EKS. Okay. Elastic Beanstalk supports Docker as well. Multi-Docker, multi-container platforms. Okay, create an environment here. We can choose here the platform, choose the platform, and we have here Docker. It supports Docker, and it supports
I am not sure what is Docker. Can you help me?
So Docker is a container service, right? Super popular right now. I think I have the extension somewhere here. Where's my extension? I think I have it here. Docker. You see, Docker is where is it? Oh, right here. It's a container service, right? That you can use to run applications. And containers is very popular right now. Containers popular because they're very secure. Docker. It's a set of platform as a service products to use OS level virtualization to deliver software in packages and called containers. Containers are isolated from one another and bundle their own software libraries and configuration files. They can communicate with each other through well-defined channels. Okay? So Docker is a set of platforms that you can use to run virtualization services, and they're called containers.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I have Docker here. It's right here. Docker. You can have images here. The images that I can see, hello world. It's an image that I download. You can go to Docker Hub, and then you can download images from there. There are images for Linux. If you put Linux here, right? There are images Ubuntu that you can download from here, right?
Okay. Every time you say images, I'm actually thinking of a picture, but I assume you're saying something else.
An image is a template.
Okay.
It contains operating system. You know, system, the downloads, the softwares, other things that have you ever been in a classroom where the administrator comes, the IT administrator comes and install different things in the computers?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's an image. They're using an image. That has, you don't have to install one by one. You have an image that installs them, all of them at once. And the software is just saved in that image. The runnable, the executable is in that image. So just, put the CD, whatever they're using inside the computer, and then it's going to run that image, that executable, and install everything you need. Okay. In the case of this, it's just an operating system, It's just an image that contains the operating system. Ubuntu is an operating system, right? It's a flavor of Debian. There are two main Linux, I think it's providers, what they call it. It's Red Hat and Debian. In Red Hat, we have CentOS, which is another one. And in Debian, we have Ubuntu. But all of that is Linux. All of that is Linux. So if you want to install a Linux operating system in a machine, you have to have an image, right? And the image contains the operating system, all the updates of the software, things that operating system needs or the machine needs to run the operating system, okay? Now, this machine that I have here, that I don't have anymore, where is it? It's right here. I just upload an image, which is Ubuntu. If I take a look at this, it says Ubuntu here, right? Ubuntu. So this machine is running on Ubuntu, okay? It's the operating system here. It's a Linux operating system, and the distribution is Ubuntu, right? And the image is right. Let me see if I have the image here. Probably can show it to you. It's just a file, right? It's just a file. I don't know if I have it here somewhere.
In my case, I remember when I moved from Windows to Mac, I create an image for my old computer, and then I install Minware in my Mac, and I was using my own old computer.
Right. Good. So this is the file, right? Ubuntu. You go to downloads, and then you download the Ubuntu desktop, what they call it, download Ubuntu desktop. Okay, so you download it here, and then it would download a file for me. So if I click here, thank you for downloading. You see, the ISO. ISO is an image. That's the extension for images. What I have to do is just install this, just upload it in the VirtualBox, right? Or VMware, and then it just runs the operating system. Okay. So I'm gonna cancel this because I don't need that. Okay. Once you have unloaded that, then your operating system will work as a charm, like a charm. So I can just get clear. I can just do CD desktop, right? And then I can do ls, and I find all the files that I have here, my virtual machine. I can do, this is a file. The ones in white are files. The ones in blue are folders. So I don't understand this quite well because it's a file. It's an executable. Probably that's why it's green, right?
Yeah, it's a shell script.
Yeah, this depends on the software that I install to beautify this guy here. Okay, I beautify this. Okay, so I can cat, which is show me the content of the new challenge. But you see, this one is white and it is executable too, but it's white. So I don't understand what's the difference between this white and this green. I don't understand it yet.
It has a flag that you can mark it as executable or not.
No. That's
it
says here. It indicates that it's an executable.
Right, but if you unflag it as executable in the property of the file, it will have it white. Like you have like a separate flag for that in any Linux file.
I didn't do that. Okay, I didn't flag anything. I just created this guy here, right? Created this guy here, executable, right? And I can execute if I want to, right? What's the name? New challenge. So I can execute this guy, right? I can use SH if I want to. New challenge. So I could say this, you. So enter number 4. You have enter event 4 is the number that's add a group. 3 is the group name, yes key. And then just an executable just to add users to the system. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's programming, basically programming, because you have functions, you have if statements. You know, this is a script in Linux. Okay. Okay. So we continue. We have these guys, and then we have the cover in this course. We're gonna cover all these guys one by one. You know, some way we're gonna speak about some more than the others. We have EC2 instances, Lambda, ElastDB stock, auto scaling, ECS, EKS, ECR, Fargate, IAM, Cornado, Shield, Artifact, KMS, and all of these guys, we're gonna talk about them one way or another. Okay. Now, this guy that you see here is gonna be with you forever until death do you apart. Amazon EC2, until it disappears. And they're thinking about making it disappear. So Lambda probably substitutes EC2 in the future when people, you know, go with serverless and not use servers anymore. S3 is going to be with you your entire life. Okay. CloudWatch is going to be with you your entire life. Trusted Advisor, yes. What else? DynamoDB for sure. VPC, yes. CloudFront, yes. And we're going to know these guys. IAM, yes. So you're going to know all these guys little by little. You know, it may seem too much right now, but we're going to know them little by little as we go. Okay, so don't worry about that now. Just take a peek and see what we have in front of us, right, as we go. And we will understand them, all of them. So don't worry. So 3 ways to interact with AWS. One is the console, the management console. And that is what we did before when we, you know, had access to our account. This is the management console. Okay. So we are just interacting with it, right? Okay, so right now, let me do something. Guys, if your keys were exposed, delete them, okay? Command line interface, that's the CLI, you know, guys, the CLI, AWS, S3, LS. All the buckets are there, okay? That's the way that we can interact with our AWS account, okay? We can say AWS. Remember what I said about the first word is AWS and the second one is the service. So we're going to say IAM, and we're going to list all the users. Okay. And I have the only one right now. I have Dunieski. Okay. If you have only one, that's what's going to show here. If I had done this before I deleted the user just right now, I would have 2. And of course, remember, guys, when we configure the CLI, remember, we said AWS configure, remember? We chose JSON as the output, remember? JSON. That is exactly why when I run this guy, I get a JSON format thing. Okay, that's why I got users and path. That's the key, the value, key value pairs, right? So that's exactly that's happening. And the other word is software development kits. That's SDKs. That's for developers, right? Access services directly from your code, such as Java, Python, or others. Okay, so you can, you know, use the SDKs for that. Okay, 3 ways: management console, CLI, and SDKs. Okay. Now, AWS is a secure platform that offers a broad set of global cloud-based products, code services that are designed to work together. Okay, don't forget about the word secure cloud platform. Okay, There are many categories of AWS, and each category has many services to choose from. Okay, the categories are whatever you just click here, services. Those are the categories that we have in AWS. Choose a service based on your needs and technology requirements. And there are 3 ways to interact with the AWS, which are, what are the 3 ways, guys, to interact with the AWS services? 3 ways. What are they?
Command line, console, and SDK.
The SDK. So management console, CLI, and the SDKs. Okay, very important. So moving to the AWS Cloud, the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework. Okay. So there's 6 different.
Excuse me, can I ask you a question about that?
Right.
My name is Howard. I came in a little late for the CLS, and you all downloaded presumably before I got here. Mm-hmm. In order to complete this class correctly, do you have to do the CLS, or can you do the online version? The web login.
I don't understand your question. What are you trying to install, the CLI?
Yeah, I haven't got there yet because you did that before, so I just wanted to stay along the process with you. But the can you hear me a little better now?
Yes. Here on Slack.
Okay. So no, I'm not on Slack because I got here so late. I didn't even know you guys were on Slack. I have a separate account. I'll try to get on that later. I was just trying to.
I sent you the.
Oh, you sent it already? Okay.
Then here, you can see that there's a.
Yeah, I saw where you sent the links. What I'm saying is, for this class and the purposes, do we have to do the CLS, or can we just primarily do it already on with the login? Because there's 3 ways that we can do it, correct? With the SDK, the login, and the CLS.
I mean, it's not a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
I recommend it. You're gonna do some stuff.
Okay.
And I may give you an assignment that.
Okay, got it perfectly. So you can work around it just the reason that I said, but you would suggest that one so you have a broad understanding of it.
Yeah.
And I will get that. I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Since there were 3 options. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for us slowing you down.
No, not a problem. There could be. You see here. Here.
Yes.
Here. It's not on. Okay.
I actually already have an AWS account because you can get it for free.
Yeah, right. But this is the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the video.
Yeah, I already subscribed to your channel. Because it's live on YouTube.
Yes. So guys,
Mm-hmm.
I may give you an assignment from one of these Saturdays that will involve creating resources with the field. Okay? So it's good to have the CLI installed. So guys, there are 6 perspectives that from the Cloud Adoption Framework is business, people, governance, platform, security, and operations. Okay. So each organization's cloud adoption journey is unique. So every company has its own experience. So however, in order for any organization to successfully migrate its IT portfolio to the cloud, 3 elements, that is people, process, and technology, must be in alignment. Okay? So business and technology leaders in an organization must understand the organization's current state, target state, and the transition that is needed to achieve the target state so that they can set goals and create processes for staff. The AWS Cloud Adoption Framework provides guidance and best practices to help organizations identify gaps in skills and processes. It also helps organizations build a comprehensive approach to cloud computing, both across the organization and through the IT lifecycle, to accelerate successful cloud adoption. At the highest level, the AWS CAF, or Cloud Adoption Framework, organizes guidance into 6 areas of focus called perspectives. Perspectives span people, processes, and technology. Each perspective consists of a set of capabilities which covers distinct responsibilities that are owned or managed by functionally related stakeholders. Capabilities within each perspective are used to identify which areas of an organization require attention. By identifying gaps, prescriptive work streams can be created that support a successfully cloud journey. Okay, so these are the perspectives. Now, these 3, they focus on business, right? Business, people, and governance. And these 3, they focus on the technical side of the company. Okay? Just remember that, guys. When we are focusing on business, these are the ones that we take care of. And the other ones are the ones that we relate to the technical part. Okay? Now, business perspective, right? Stakeholders from the business perspective, for example, the business managers, the finance managers, the budget owners, the strategy stakeholders, they can use the cloud adoption framework to create a strong business case for cloud adoption and prioritize cloud adoption initiatives. So these stakeholders, they should ensure that the organization's business strategies and goals align with its IT strategies and goals. Okay, so we have the IT finance IT strategy, benefits realization, and we have the risk management. Okay, so all of these guys are involved in this. Okay, and IT and business, they need to be aligned. Okay, so that's the business part. The people, as the human resources, staffing, and people manager, those guys that are in charge of teams, right? Teams, offices, right? They can use this cloud adoption framework to evaluate organizational changes, right? And structures and roles, new skills and process requirements, and identify gaps. Now, performing an analysis of needs and gaps can help prioritize training, staffing, and organizational changes to build an agile organization. Guys, has any one of you been in any agile environment?
Yes.
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 Yes. So
yes.
Good.
Yes.
No. I assume you're referring to the Agile framework, right?
Yes. Okay. You know, in an agile environment, when you have stand-ups every day, you have sprints every 2 weeks, continuous feedback from the customer, continuous feedback, among the team, with you use stories, and you assign point to a story using the Fibonacci sequence and things like that. It's a very fast-moving environment. Well, that's what's called agile, because it's continuous development, continuous deployment, continuous delivery, continuous feedback. Super fast, right? And it's very stressful. I don't like it. Okay, but it's very effective, right? People are using it a lot recently. Okay. So the other one that we have here is governance, right? Governance, and this guy has to do with the stakeholders from the governance perspective. For example, the chief information officer or CIO, the program managers, the enterprise architects, the business analysts, and the portfolio managers. They can use this cloud adoption framework to focus on the skills, right? Focus on the skills and also the processes that are needed to align IT strategy and goals with business strategy and goals, right? So this focus helps, right, the organization maximize the business value of its IT business investment and minimize the business risks. Okay. The platform perspective, right? Stakeholders, again, from the platform perspective, for example, the chief technology officer or CTO, the IT managers and solutions architects, right? This is the part that has to do with the technical part, right? They can use a variety of architectural dimensions and models to understand and communicate the nature of IT systems and their relationships. They must be able to describe the architecture of the target state environment in detail. So the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework includes principles and patterns for implementing new solutions on the cloud and for migrating on-premises workloads to the cloud. Okay, so this is the guys talking. We must understand and communicate the nature of IT systems and their relationships. We must be able to describe the architecture of the target state environment in detail. So these guys are from the technical part, the compute provisioning, the network provisioning, the storage provisioning, the database provisioning, systems and solution architecture, and application development. All of these guys. And I believe, guys, that probably, I don't know, probably you have that intention to become a solutions architect for AWS. That could be one of your dreams come true if you want to be in the cloud. Because I know someone that gets a job from AWS is someone that must be proud of himself or herself, because working for Amazon is really, I mean, going through the process of interviewing with Amazon is very painful and stressful. But when you get the job, it's very rewarding. Okay. So stakeholders here, from the security perspective, for example, the chief information security officers, or also known as the CISO, IT security managers, and IT analysts, right? They must ensure that the organization meets its security objectives. Right? For visibility, that's very important, right? For auditability, so they have to be auditable, right? Control and agility. The security perspective stakeholders, they can use the cloud adoption framework to structure the selection and implementation of security controls that meet the organization needs. Okay? You see here, identity and access management, detective control, infrastructure security, data protection, incident response. Okay? And then you can probably, if you like security, you can take some courses on security and understand AWS a little bit better. Okay? If you are into security. The operation perspective is the one that, ensures that, there's monitoring of services, application performance monitoring, resource inventory management, release management, change management, supporting and analytics, business continuity, disaster recovery, IT service catalog. Okay, so the stakeholders, in this case, the IT operation managers and the IT support managers, okay, they define how day-to-day, quarter-to-quarter, and year-to-year business is conducted. The stakeholders from the operation perspective, what they do is just align with and support the operations of the business. So the AWS Cloud Framework, Adoption Framework, helps these guys define the current operating procedures, right? It also helps them identify the process changes and training that are needed to implement successful cloud adoption. Okay. Any questions, guys, so far? No questions? Okay.
No.
Okay, so
it's a lot of information all at once. So I don't want you to think that I have absolutely no questions. I just want to go through everything to make sure I have the right questions, just because so much is coming at me at one time. And
I believe me.
But I just want to follow up with you.
Yeah, and believe me, every class is going to be similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
More practical, some more practical than others, but it's a lot of theory. A lot of theory.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a test of, probably you were not here when I said it, but it's a test of your memory.
Okay.
The exam is a test of memory, more than anything. Okay, we're going to do a lot of stuff here. We're going to do a lot of practice here. Okay? But that's going to be in between, like something inserted in the course, right? And we're going to do a lot of practice too.
Yes.
You're getting the fundamentals. You're going to get the fundamentals of the cloud, of the AWS cloud. So we have to have, we're going to receive a lot of information, a lot of information, and it is about their retention and memory. That's right.
For taking this exam.
Yeah, but not everything is going to be in the exam. It's just part of the course. It's like you receive a course that give you tons of content, but at the end of the day, you narrow it down, and that's the exam, something like that. Okay. Yeah. And
okay.
But the question of the exam is more like memory. It's not like scenarios or real life questions.
They may give you some scenarios. Yes. Yes, you give.
I have some. I'm on the side right now. I took some sample questions. I'll post them in the chat.
Yeah. Yes. So there's. I mean, most of the questions are scenarios. Okay, but you have to memorize or remember what is the service for. Right. So they're gonna give you. A company's looking for an architect for this, that. What is the service that would be good for this? So you have to remember. Search in your hard drive, right? In your brain hard drive, and remember what service is used for that. So it's a test of your memory, right?
Okay.
But it's gonna be, if you want to see more questions, similar questions, you can probably just remind me when I finish.
I posted some on the chat right now that I got from the AWS website that they have for the sample questions for the test. It's up now.
Okay. Okay. Good. You posted on Slack?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. No, I'm still here with you. I didn't update with Slack. It's on the chat in the Zoom right here.
Okay. We're gonna see some sample questions in when I finish the PowerPoints. Okay.
Perfect.
So the cloud adoption is not instantaneous for most organizations. It requires a thoughtful, deliberate strategy and alignment across the whole organization, right? And the AWS Cloud Adoption Framework was created to help organizations develop efficient and effective plans for their cloud adoption journey. The AWS CF, guys, I'm just reading this because it's something that we already saw. Okay, so you can read it later. What are the 6 perspectives that we saw? Remember?
Business, governance, people, security, operations, platform. Okay.
Wow. Was that memorized?
Bueno.
Wow. Great. Awesome. Okay. Well, those are the perspectives, right?
What she said, I repeat that.
Okay. Okay. So good. So we have these guys here. We have business, people, governance, platform, security, and operations. Okay. So we have those 6 perspectives. So guys, we have just the end of the module. It's going to get more intense as we go. This is just the introduction to concepts in the cloud. In summary, of course, guys, I'm going to make the class more. I always would make the class more dynamic. I'm going to show you and demonstrate everything that I do. It's not going to be only PowerPoint, because it's not easy to get PowerPoints for 6 hours, right? We're going to do some demonstration with the console. We're going to do things with the console. We're going to create resources with the console, okay? So don't worry about that. In this module, you learn how to define different types of cloud computing models, describe 6 advantages of cloud computing, recognize the main AWS service categories and core services, review the AWS cloud adoption framework, right? And we're gonna complete the knowledge check, which I'm gonna create for you guys today, right? A sample question, for example, this is a sample question. What do you think is the answer here? What is AWS more, what is AWS more economical than traditional data centers for applications with varying computer workloads?
Sí.
What is the answer?
Sí.
C is the answer. So we have the keywords here, more economical than traditional keywords, data centers. And then the answer is C. Okay. So Amazon instances can be launched on demand when needed. Okay. So that will be the answer for that. Okay. Good. So these are the links. I think I posted the links. Let me see if I posted the links on. I think I posted them here before on Slack. Okay. Let me see if I can put this, guys. They're not even clicking for me. Don't worry, guys. I will post them on Slack today. Okay. Now, guys, I'm gonna create an access for you guys. I have your email, all of your emails. So I'm gonna create an access for the cloud, for the Academy, right? For the Academy. So you're gonna receive an invitation from me today, right? And when you click on the class, I have several classes here, but yours is gonna be Cloud Foundation. Okay. So we're gonna have, when you see this Cloud Foundation, your class, you can click on modules, right? You're gonna have some modules there. And then when you have the modules, you're going to do the first knowledge check, which is here, module 1. See module 1 here? Module 1. And then you can take a look at some videos here if you want to, you know, a student guide, and then the module 1 knowledge check. Okay? It's gonna be a little questionnaire, like probably a little test, a little quiz on module 1. Okay? So you can take that. I'm gonna see the score when I have the scores, and I'm gonna see who took the exam, who didn't take it. And then we're gonna have an exam for every single module. We have knowledge check. And then when we get to module 4, then we have the first lab, okay? Which you're gonna have, you're gonna be available to do when we get to module 4, okay? So keep an eye on your email. You're gonna receive an email from me today, not from me, from AWS Academy, right? Asking you to sign up. Guys, you have to sign up, and then when you are in here, then you can do things here, okay? So keep an eye on your email, and that's gonna be your access to take the knowledge checks for every module and the labs when we get to module 4, okay? I think we're done here. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me now. It's 3:20. I think we finished right on time.
I have just one quick question, and it's really just an overall question. Just because I was like, you know, I'm just want to make sure that I don't miss anything. Is it okay that I, you know, follow through